everybody, and welcome to Stamping with Tanya Badolka. On today's video, I am going to show an alternative card for this month's Paper Pumpkin for the Adventure Begins. So I'm using elements out of the kit itself to make this thinking outside the box. And what we are going to do is on the back side of the instructions, there are some other examples here of some other things that you can do with them. So we're going to try and duplicate this one right here, except for I've changed it just a little bit, and let's make that together because I haven't done the example yet. So what you're going to need is a card base. I've chosen the Granny Apple Green. So this is 8.5. Sorry, yes, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in half at 4 and at 4. So there's your card base. And then so with the card, so this was like in my first video, the first thinking outside the box card I did. So this is a 3-flap card. So this is the back and this is the front, and then the middle piece is right here. So I am using all the 3 pieces on the one card, just in a different order. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this straight down onto the card. So I've trimmed this piece down to 5.25 by 4, and I'm going to adhere this to my card, and I'm just going to use my regular Stampin' Seal to do this. I'm just going to place some around the edges here, and then what I'm going to do is with this next piece here, I am going to dimensionalize this, I think, because I think it's beautiful and it needs to step up a little bit. So I've also trimmed away some excess of this. So there was a white little edge around all of it. I trimmed all of that away with my paper trimmer, as well as I have completely changed the length of this unit here. So I cut off the bottom part, the green part, and my overall finished piece is 4.5, and then whatever is left because I just trimmed away the white edges on each side. So that's how that's going to be. So you want this piece to be 4.5 on the bottom. So I'm going to continue and place my dimensionals on here. Because in my first card that I did, the Thinking Outside the Box, I also trimmed it down. So in there as well, I have explained how to do that. So please like and subscribe to my videos so that when I do create new videos, you are the first to know so that you're able to watch them at your leisure. I'm using some little dimensionals in here as well because this is quite thin. And I want to make sure that this is well adhered because I don't want it to get snagged when you pull it in and out of the envelope. So now that I have all these pieces on here, I'm just going to pull the backings off my dimensionals. And this is sometimes lots of fun. So Paper Pumpkin Kit comes to your mailbox every month if you like. You can subscribe 1 month and put it on hold and then subscribe the month after that. It's totally up to you how you do that. And you go to mypaperpumpkin.com to subscribe. So I'm just going to place, oops, this in the middle here, top and bottom. So I'm just going to place it in the middle like that. So there's top and bottom. And then with the stamp set here, I am going to, the example in the Thinking Outside the Box ones here, it just says Explore. So I'm going to get Explore, and I am going to get my little dragonfly again. And I'm going to ink this up this time in Night of Navy. So I have a little piece of scrap paper here that I'm going to use to stamp the Explore, like that. My ink pad is very, very juicy, so I'm just going to tap lightly. And then there's a couple little of these little guys up here and one here, and I'm going to put one over here. Okay. So that's about the extent of my stamping for the outside of the card. I'm going to grab my paper snips. My ink is still very wet there. I'm going to trim this down from the bottom. I find I make straighter cuts in my paper if I just open my scissors as wide as they will go, and as long as it's straight, it should cut pretty straight. And then so the example had a line from like there. And then I'm going to place a dimensional on the back of that. Peel the backing off of there. And then I'm going to put this right here. And then just to add some bling to the card, I am going to add some of these adhesive back sequences. So there's one. And then I'm going to add some of these little bluey green ones because they're beautiful. So this is the example that is thinking outside of the box on the back of the instructions in your paper pumpkin kit, like that. So similar to this, except for they used a different, they probably just used the card base that we're going to put on the inside of this. So I've put it onto Granny Apple Green, and now I'm going to ink up something on the inside here. What should we do? I'm going to just put, I'm going to do the tree again and see how this goes this time. Last time I had a little bit of problems, but that's okay. It's just paper. Paper has two sides. Nothing is ever set in stone. So I'm going to use Garden Green, and I'm going to get my piercing mat because this surface I have here is extremely hard. That way my stamp is nice and crisp. So I'm going to ink off, and then I'm going to huff, and then I'm going to stamp. I'm going to stamp it this time on the right hand side like that, and then I'm going to quickly clean this because I will get ink everywhere. And then I'm going to get this little detailed part of the tree because it looks very nice. I'm going to ink this up full. This is full value. And then line it up nicer. The last time that turned out really nice. And then you can put a different saying if you want on the inside, or you can just leave it blank. I tend to leave most of my cards blank. I'm going to stamp this. It's the Dream Big and stuff. So I'm going to line it up on my grid paper, grab my stamping block, and that's how I get them to be perfectly straight and not wavy, because sometimes your words can end up being a little bit funny on your block. So this just helps make it nice and straight. You know what? I'm going to stamp this in navy. Night of Navy instead, because I think it will look better. Just give that a little ink and stamp that there. And I'm going to cut one of these little blue trees off of here, and I'm going to put a dimensional or two on the back of this tree. And I'm going to tuck this in right there, right on the front of the card, just for an added element. Okay, now that this is just about dried, I am going to be very careful because I see I have some smearing here, which is quite typical for me because I'm a little impatient sometimes. And I am going to just glue this on the inside because there. So that is my Thinking Outside the Box card number 2. I hope you've liked today's little video. Please like and subscribe for more ideas. And happy crafting, and we will see you again one day.